Sound on the Sound is a Seattle music blog. It's hyper local, that's what I would say. Started in August of 2006. We'll celebrate 5 years of the blog while we're at Dobe. And it was me and my best friend, Josh Loveseth. And we were going out to a ton of shows because we're gigantic music lovers. We were both raised from the womb on music. And we were seeing these local bands who were usually opening for a national touring act that we went to who blew them out of the water, or who we just didn't understand as avid music readers why we'd never heard of them before. And in 2006, when we started, there was Three Imaginary Girls. That was a local music blog, and that was kind of it. There was, I guess, Ear Candy was around, which was a user blog through the PI, but I don't even think the Weekly or the Stranger had specific music blogs. So we just kind of saw a niche, and mainly it was an outlet to do something with what we were doing at night and to engage our creativity, because we were both working day jobs and desk jobs that weren't. And Josh knew that the only thing I ever wanted to do in my life was be a writer. And there was no outlet for it because print media was dying, and it was really hard to get a job in print media. And Josh and I actually met in high school journalism class at Garfield. And that's where we became best friends and high school sweethearts, was in journalism, writing for The Messenger at Garfield. And our approach has always been to write about what we love, and that's it. And that's the only rule. So it doesn't have to be only local. I happen to think that the best music in the country, if not the world, is being made here right now. And I thought that 5 years ago. I thought that 4 labels in our guys were coming around Seattle and knocking on doors again. And by staying positive and not falling back on kind of the popular snark that is really common in music blogs and music writing in general, I think that I think people enjoy that, and that's what people tell us a lot, is that they appreciate that it stays positive, because there are plenty of bands that I don't care for. Well, there's new content every day, and there's been new content every day, almost every day for 5 years, and it's features, reviews, photos, videos, news posts, festival schedules, and we write content based on whatever we like the most at the moment, whatever is moving us the most. And the idea was, we have day jobs, we're not getting paid for this, so why would we spend time writing about what we don't like? Or why would we spend time taking down a band? And the old school journalism folks, think that that's bullshit, and they don't like blogs anyways. But the idea that music writing can be objective anyways seems so far removed from my experience with music, which is deeply personal. I'm really, really glad that we just wrote for 4.5 years before anyone gave a fuck who we were. And it's harder to write now that people do. I mean, it's odd that I feel like, not that I enjoy it less, but I do. I mean, I have writer's block because I realize people are reading it, and people who don't like what we like, and people who don't like what we do, and that's stressful. It's stressful that people know who we are. It makes me nervous. Well, and we're both pretty private people, and we're both pretty shy, and part of the idea of writing a blog is that there is something, like, without your last name attached to it, is it's kind of anonymous. So for it to have made the transition to it not being anonymous is still something that I'm learning how to deal with. So Josh and I co-founded it together, and but we wanted to really keep a voice. So we've never put an ad on Craigslist. We don't go out looking for writers. We've added staff as writers who come to us. The first writer that we added is a guy named Noah Sanders, who was the press person was a press intern for Light in the Attic back in the day. And he emailed us one day and just said, look, I really like what you do. And I'm a writer, and he could could I do something for you guys? And we said, sure. And the blog is as much Noah's blog as it is our blog today. Noah's been writing for us for almost 3 years. Has never made a dime off of it. I mean, none of us have ever made a dime off of it. But it wasn't Noah's vision either. So that Noah does that for us is, like, blows my mind every day. He writes a column called The Daily Choice because Noah lives on the internet. And, like, before Pitchfork writes about something, Noah wrote about it 3 weeks ago. There's always MP3s and videos from local bands. We've gotten to be known for kind of this thing called, like, introducing, which is just where, hey, here's a new band that no one else has talked about. This is who they are. This is a song. This is this is who we like, who we think you'll hear about. And we've introduced people like The Head and the Heart, and we've introduced Lamolo, and people like My Goodness and Brian John Appleby, and we were some of the first people talking about the Moondoggies, and so I just think it's like we go to a crap ton we go to a lot of shows, and that's how it's slowed down a little bit, but for the first 4 years, Josh and I averaged 4 to 5 shows a week. I feel like we have a conversation. So yes, there are tags that say, like, this is an album review, this is a concert preview, this is a review, these are photos. But what I feel like is we have a really casual conversation with our readers, and we just say, hey, this is what we like, this is why we like it, we think you might like it, but I think the most important thing is having it there, and having.
What's your readership like at this point, do you think?
Well, that's something bloggers never say on camera. It's like
Well, you don't have to say it.
it's like asking a woman her age.
How about this? You could say, like, it's grown.
Oh, it's grown a lot. And I mean, in the last year, our readership has tripled in the last year. So, and I would say, a lot of that has to do with The Head and the Heart.
Why is that?
Because we were the first people who wrote about them. We will keep doing Sound on the Sound as long as it makes us happy, and as soon as it doesn't, we'll stop doing it. Because it's not, we don't make money, we lose money on it. We pay server costs, we pay gear, we've never tried to monetize it. I would like to figure out how to put ads on there just so I could pay my other writers. I'd like to pay Noah. We have a great concert reviewer named Phil, who's one of the funniest dudes in Seattle. He's East Coast. He's the humor on Sound on the Sound. We have a girl named Brittany, who is a Canada-phile. She is in love with Canada. She's a local photographer around town, and about a year ago she emailed us and said, hey, could I write a column every week about Canadian music? And we said, yeah, you can do that. So every Friday she has a column called North of Northwest, which is about Canadian music. And that's our staff. We have 5 people.